Hi, and welcome to the Diablo Podcast, your home for Diablo diehards, tryhards, casual, and hardcore alike. I am your host, Xanth, and today we're doing something completely different. After 83 episodes, we're going to finally talk about it, Diablo Immortal, and I brought in someone who is well versed in the category to come and explain this game to me that I have not played. So, joining us today, we have Ricia from the Diablo Partner
Hi.
Program.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here to do something that I think we probably should have talked about years ago. And, time, it goes by pretty quickly. So, Diablo Immortal. You are a Diablo Immortal partner. I've seen you, pop up in our mutual server. Um, How did this start for you? I mean, how did you get involved in Diablo and then like Diablo Immortal?
It's kind of a bit of a weird one. I originally was playing a mobile game called Darkness Rises. It was I think it was by like Nexon. And I was playing that. I was basically really, really unwell with COVID to the point that I was like stuck in bed for like 2 months. I got it literally when COVID wasn't really a thing anymore, and I got it bad. So I was just bored at home, and I was like, I need to do something that's on my phone that I can literally lay in bed doing. So I downloaded this game, Darkness Rises, and I played it. I like maxed every character on there. So there were 7 characters. I maxed all of them out. I was playing the game like every single day, like literally all day, every day. And then they closed down the servers. And I was like, okay, I need a replacement for this game. And it took me a few months. And the funny thing is, I actually downloaded Diablo Immortal and then deleted it after like 2 days because I was like, no, I don't like this. This is not fun. It's really like, it wasn't the same as what Darkness Rises was. And then I like searched and searched, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back to Diablo Immortal because actually it's a little bit like a game that I played years ago on PC, which was called Spellforce. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No, I've never
It
played
was
it.
um it was a similar kind of thing, where you have different zones to explore, except you'd have to like build up armies and stuff like that. So kind of a cross between like Diablo Immortal and maybe like Age of Empires kind of thing, except it was all like elves, orcs, that kind of thing. And I was like, actually, it kind of reminds me of that. So I'm gonna give it another go. So I downloaded it. And I remember I was outside of this dungeon, which was part of the story lore that you had to complete this dungeon, and it was Mad King's Breach. I stood at this door and I was like, oh my God, I need a party to do this with. I really didn't want to be social at all in this game. And I ended up in a party with this person called Pajdozeka. That was his name in game at the time. And we ended up becoming like best friends. So I made a war band. He joined the war band. We did everything together. And that's kind of where it all began. And then I made friends with Jeezy, who a lot of people know as Game Zone Gaming on YouTube as well. He's also a Diablo partner. And me and Game Zone used to be, well, we still are. We're really competitive with each other. And it kind of starts off, his first memory of me was different to my first memory of him. So his first memory of me was Battleground, and I was testing out this essence for Wizard, and it was shockingly bad. It was like absolutely awful. They have since changed the essence and how it works. And I was testing it out, and he kicked my ass so bad. And I was like, I wrote in our clan chat, I was like, well done, GZ. Like, we're not friends anymore. Like, I was so mad. I was like infuriated by how badly this essence performed. But my first memory of him was spamming dungeons together. Like it used to be the thing that everyone would play Temple of Namari back to back, because it was a fun dungeon to play. You got loads of loot, so when you're trying to level up your gear, it was like the best dungeon to play. So that was GZ's first memory of me, and eventually I convinced him to join my warband as well. So it kind of started off with me just playing, not wanting to make friends, and now I have like a war band of friends that I've like collected in the time I've been playing Diablo. And yeah, I absolutely I love every aspect of the game, and I think that's what, like, not everyone understands the social side of thing. It's a huge the social side of it is a huge part of Diablo Immortal that keeps people coming back, I think, if you have a good group of people. Um, but yeah, I kind of, as I said, my story is a bit of a weird one because I started off like not really being a gamer, and then like finding Darkness Rises, that closed down, finding Diablo Immortal, and now being like, oh my God, this is now my life. Like, I'm obsessed with this game. Like, I play it every day. I make videos almost every day for Diablo Immortal as well. I was a content creator already. So before I was playing Diablo Immortal, I was a content creator and still am for a few different beauty brands on Instagram and on TikTok. So I do a few brand collaborations, mainly beauty, skincare, the occasional like clothing brand as well. So I kind of already did content creation, and then started doing the gaming, and like as I said, absolutely fell in love with it. And then my clan used to get us on voice chat every now and again for things like Rite of Exile, really important clan battles like certain Shadow Wars and things like that. And I was on voice chat and everyone was like, oh my God, your voice. You should be doing a Diablo Immortal YouTube because I could listen to your voice for hours. Like, you're really clear to understand. You sound really informative the way you talk, really enthusiastic. And I was like, do I, don't I? So I was like, okay, I kind of like got bullied into it. And I started off with a couple of tutorials on boss mechanics for Halikri raids. And those got loads of views. Loads of people like, oh my God, this is so helpful. I had no idea that you had to do XYZ. And that it kind of just like spiraled from there to become what my channel is now. And with like uploading regularly, with doing like silly videos. Like, I do a lot of YouTube shorts that are just like jokes. I started doing magic tricks, like, because people liked that. I've only done two, and I'm like, I now need to learn more because apparently people want to see me do magic tricks as well.
how
Um,
how
but yeah,
long
it's
how long was
kind
it
of gone wild.
how long was it before, like, from downloading Immortal to making videos? Like, what was that time frame for you?
I think it was about, I want to say it was about a year, maybe like just under a year. Because I really wasn't planning on downloading it to make videos for it. It never even crossed my mind. I didn't even realize that people still watched video game tutorials and videos online, because obviously like online gaming is so different to like, gaming on your PS1 as a kid, where there aren't any tutorials. You just have to kind of get on with it. And oh, you can buy a book that's a guide that's 30 pounds, and it'll tell you exactly how to do everything, and it'll be a full walkthrough. It's not, I didn't really know that there wasn't that it kind of still existed. But when I was looking for Diablo guides, there wasn't really anything relevant to the gameplay that I was playing. Because I started playing the game a few months after it launched. I think I started playing about 6 months after launch. So a lot of the videos that were out there were kind of outdated and weren't current, or it was people that had already played all the other Diablo games, so they had an idea of how it worked. So I kind of wanted to do videos that were a lot shorter than a lot of the other ones, because I don't have a very good attention span with things. And I know that a lot of people that play are actually more casual, or they have a full-time job. They don't have an hour to sit there and watch a guide, but they might have 5 minutes to sit and watch a guide. So my whole objective with my channel was to make these guides that are really quick and really easy for people to understand. So really quick walkthroughs, really quick guides. And I kind of just did it because, like I said, I got bullied into doing it. And then it kind of like, I started getting more viewers, and I wouldn't say my channel's big by any means. But I think a lot of the people that follow my channel, they do it because it's like they know that I'll just give them the top line information without all the complicated stuff, without sitting there and working out equations. If that's not their kind of thing, that's absolutely fine. If that is your kind of thing, there's loads of creators out there that do that. But I just wanted to keep it like, kind of take it back to basics for people and keep it really simple. And that seems to be what quite a lot of people have enjoyed. And I kind of, because I enjoy content creating as well as actually the game, it kind of like works really nicely for me, because like I'm someone that I'm just constantly thriving to like, I have to be doing something all the time. So it's like, if I'm not gaming, I'm making a video about gaming, about Diablo Immortal. And yeah, just that's kind of how it all started, I guess, and how it's progressed to what my channel is now. So yeah.
That's awesome. And I think like that, keeping it simple and keeping the basics approach is super helpful right now for me, as I have no idea. I did I've been in the Diablo sphere for a long time, and you just rattled off so many different names and things, that words that I have heard, but I have no idea of the context. And I definitely have felt like a fish out of water. So why don't we start there? Diablo Immortal launched what, 3+ years ago? Um,
Yeah.
it was, if I recall correctly, it was like the summer before Diablo 4 was going to get going, because they were doing events all across the country. They were doing these tattoo events. Did you have the Hell? What was it? God, they had a name for it. Hell's Inc. Did you have the Hell's Inc. event in England? I think they may
I'm
have.
not sure. Because I wasn't, like I said, because I was kind of late into it.
Okay, so they
I'm
did.
kind of gutted I missed it now if they did.
It was a awesome event all across different cities in the U.S., and I think they went to Australia, and maybe they might have had like two in the U.K. You could show up. You got a flash tattoo of one of the various Diablo logos or character classes or what have you, and then sat around, talked about Diablo. And one of the big questions that was happening in the line was, and this was from Blizzard, was like, "Hey, what are you playing right now? Are you playing Immortal?" At the time, I wasn't. I just kind of put that on the back burner, and yeah, so that was about 3.5 years ago. Um, yeah, that lines up. So with that time frame, a lot has more than likely happened, right? My
Yeah.
initial impression when I was so quick to be like, no, I'm not playing that. I can only imagine that things have changed. I've seen things. I've seen things come across the wire. I saw a new druid class, but I understand there's actually been several new classes that have been introduced. So this is a daunting question. What has changed, and really what is Diablo Immortal kind of now? If you were one of those initial people who was getting served information about Diablo Immortal, or were put off by Diablo Immortal at the launch of the game, what's happened? And I know that, like, where do you start there?
Yeah, it's like a can of worms. I mean, it's Diablo Immortal has come a really long way, even since I first started playing it. So as I said, I started playing about 6 months into the launch. So 6 months after it launched is when I started playing it. And there's so much that's happened in the game. Like the storyline, the whole lore has expanded so much. There's been new zones. As you said, there's been new classes added to the game. There's a lot more actual gameplay. Like there's a lot more content to play through. There's a lot more weekly tasks to complete if you want to. Obviously, if you don't, you can skip them. But there is like so much more to Diablo now than there was. I'm trying to even think back, like when I first started playing, I think we've had about 4 new zones or 5 new zones since Diablo started. And then obviously, as I said, 3 new classes. So we had Blood Knight first, then last year we had Tempest, and then this year we've had Druid. The Blood Knight and Tempest launched. They were both super OP. Everyone swapped to that class. And then Druid launched, everyone swapped to it, and they were like, this class kind of sucks. So we have a new content update coming in a few days, and Druid is getting a little bit of love there with some new essences for the next Inferno difficulty. We have had a few other things happen in Diablo Immortal. So currently we are all striving towards Paragon 1000. For long-term players like myself, we've already hit Paragon 1000, and they basically like reworked the Paragon system so that it wasn't so daunting for new characters. Because obviously, if you start a new character and you think, oh my God, I've got to get to level 60, that's the base level, and then I've got to get from 1 to 1000, it seems really like impossible. As a new player, it seems totally impossible to do that. So I actually set up a new character recently to play Druid as a completely new player. And within like 3 days of gameplay, I'm already, I think, at like Paragon 100. So And that's not even full days. That's probably like 4 hours of gameplay. So there's a lot that's changed. There's a lot in game to help new players catch up, to help support people that's character is kind of like below where the server's at. The catch-up mechanics are great. Like you get like 100% boost on all your materials for upgrading gear. There's a lot of people that are willing to help as well. I mean, there's a lot of players in game. I find that, if you're new and you put in the chat, can someone help me with raids? 9 times out of 10 people will be like, yeah, sure, I'll come and join you, or I'll set up a raid. So whereas like when I first started, it was a little bit more like, well, learn to do it, noob, that was like thrown around so much. Whereas now I think there's a lot more support in the game, especially on servers that are active. So if you're on a really active server, you're kind of in a kind of winning before you've even started. And then there's like you've got all the clan stuff going on. So you've got shadows and immortals. It's just there's just so much content now compared to when Diablo Immortal first started. There's just so much to play, so many zones to explore. If you're a completionist like me, it's fun because there's so many tick boxes to do. There's like zone exploration tasks, as well as your weekly tasks, daily tasks, things like that. Yeah, it's there's a lot more content than when Diablo first started, and I think a lot of people kind of did what I did initially and downloaded it and went, this isn't really for me. I don't like it. It's not great. But like it's advanced so much. And even the graphics, like when you start playing it again from the beginning and you see like the graphics of some of the bosses compared to what they look like now, you're like, oh, actually, yeah, even this is improved. But obviously, when you think back 3 years ago, you don't realize that it's as much of a difference as it is. So yeah, there's a lot that's changed in Diablo Immortal, and there's still new content coming out, so there's still new stuff constantly being made for it. So we currently have a zone called Shovel Wilds, and it's going to be one of the biggest zones in Diablo Immortal. And so far this year, they've kind of expanded on it. So they've introduced you to the zone, and then the last major update expanded on that zone, and they're going to kind of continue doing it like that. So we're slowly exploring this zone rather than having a massive zone put in and you explore it in one go, you get all the lore at once. This is kind of like slightly shorter, except if you want to play the storyline through, it's about an hour each time. So far on Shovel Worlds, it's like 2 hours of exploration, but the zone is only probably like 30% explored, and then the rest of it is locked until the next content update. So they've kind of done that a little bit differently to previously. Previously, they've launched a new zone and you've instantly been able to explore it. We also got to fight Diablo himself in World's Crown.
Wait. So they put
So,
Diablo in a Diablo game. So
yes.
if you haven't seen anything around Diablo 4, one of the big criticisms has been that Diablo's not in it, and initially that made sense. Like, but then the expansion comes out, and we still don't have Diablo, and then we have another expansion coming, and the likelihood of that. So it's good to hear that they're putting Diablo somewhere, if it's
Yeah.
not in Diablo 4.
Yeah, it's in Diablo Immortal. Sorry, you have to play that instead. So
For everybody who
yeah, we
has
have
that itch.
Diablo. Yeah. Yes, definitely. He was put into more of the lore than he was already in. And yeah, so you do get to fight Diablo, and you can actually do the Diablo dungeon once a week for a guaranteed legendary item as well. So it's something that they kind of have kept fresh in the game, like kept as a constant weekly task to complete as well. So yeah, it's kind of fun. And it's
That
not
it.
the easiest boss fight.
um, okay, so obviously things have changed. I'm hearing a lot in terms of zones and experiences and so on and so forth. Run me through a little bit. Like, let's say I start today, right? 1 to 60. That's your basic. I'm just doing the story, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's going to kind of be everybody's generic. I learned my skills, so on and so forth. Once I hit that cap, what's the gameplay loop like? Like I finally got it. I have my highest character I can now. You mentioned Paragon, which is a system we had in Diablo 3, we have in Diablo 4, scaling all the way to 1,000. Um, what would I, as a new player, then want to go do? Like, what are my different options?
Well, with the Paragon level being hit from 1 to 60, as you said, is like the tutorial. You can actually achieve that without completing the whole storyline now. So I would say you can complete that in just a few hours of gameplay. So you still have quite a lot to play through, but once you're at the max Paragon level currently, there's the whole thing of shadows and immortals. So I don't know if you have that in the other Diablo games because I've not played them, but in Diablo Immortal you have shadow clans and you have immortal clans. So immortal clans are meant to be the ones that are like the protector of Westmarch. And the every week you have shadow and immortal tasks, so you have the tasks to complete, but you also have like shadow war against other shadow clans to find out who's the top shadow clans. You also have things like Vigil of Blades if you're an immortal and if you're in a top 3 shadow clan, and then that happens for 3 weeks, and then depending on how long the immortals manage to hold reign, if they get overthrown by a shadow clan, if they get beaten by the shadow clans, then they lose their immortal reign. But immortals can reign for up to 7 weeks. So if they do have the full 7 weeks, you have 3 weeks of Vigil of Blades, which is just the top 3 shadow clans against the 3 immortal clans. And after that, if the immortals are still reigning strong, they then go into Rite of Exile, which is the 3 immortal clans have 10 teams and they get to fight the 10 top shadow clans. So there's that part of the gameplay. If you're someone that's competitive, if you enjoy PvP, obviously that is more of a like pay to win kind of experience. If you aren't higher resonance, it can be a little bit tricky. However, there's a lot of content that myself and other people have made recently about gem synergies over just resonance. Because what we're finding in PvP is that sometimes if you have a stronger gem setup, if you have the gems that work correctly together, if you have the build that works correctly with that, you can actually get further than you can with just having high resonance or spending loads on the game. So you have that aspect if you want to be in a shadow clan or an immortal clan. And I've been on both sides. I like certain aspects of both. I'm in a clan currently that's immortal. We get immortal reign every few weeks. But I also enjoy the shadow side of things. Shadows is kind of like grunge and chilled out, and like immortals is like, oh, I've got a fancy cape and like my name is in gold instead of in green. So you have that, but then if you've got an active group of friends that you play with, it's kind of just about doing like your weekly tasks and like thriving to make your character stronger, thriving to make your character better, trying out new builds, trying out new essences, playing dungeons. I mean, for me, I think the community side of it is one of the things that keeps me playing the most. Like, as I said, I have a really tight group of friends that I kind of bullied into being my friends and playing with me. Um, and that's what makes the difference in Diablo Immortal, I think, is that it's such an active community. And if you find your group of people in there, you kind of want to play for them. It's like logging in every day to be like, oh, let's do some dungeons together and just have a catch up, like you just typing in the chat or you're on voice chat together and catching up about your day. And it's interesting the different groups of people that Diablo Immortal brings together. I have friends in game that are lawyers, and I'm like, I'd never thought I'd talk to someone that's a lawyer unless I was in trouble. And and then you've got people that they're a postman, or they have like completely different background, completely different job, live in a totally different part of the world. And the community side of Diablo Immortal I think is huge, and I think like end game wise, that's what kind of keeps people coming back, is actually having this content that's constantly getting updated, constantly getting events each month. We have returning events each month, so some of them PvP, some of them are more PvE. So again, it's like something for everyone depending on what you enjoy playing, what kind of content you enjoy playing. So there's kind of a lot that's always going on all the time. But definitely the community side of it is what I think keeps a lot of people playing this game. And to me, that's like the biggest part of Diablo Immortal is actually the community side of things. And like people will know, even on my channel, if I have someone trying to have an argument with someone else in my comments or trying to argue with me in my comments, I literally just turn around. I'm like, this is not tolerated. Like, this is meant to be a happy, fun space for people. Like, I'm not, do you know what I mean? That's not
Right.
what I'm here for. I'm not here for drama. I'm here just to play the game and have fun. And obviously with a lot of these games, you do get drama in game and stuff like that, but I just kind of like ignore that. And yeah, the community side of it and having fun with friends is major. And as I said, I think that's what keeps a lot of people going in Diablo Immortal and wanting to continue playing. So you've always got something to play in game as well, whether you are PvP or PvE focused. So yeah, there's just so much content to play through now. Like honestly, if you started playing the game and got your character to max level, you'd probably be playing for a good few weeks before you even get slightly bored because you're going to be like, oh my God, there's so much to do
Right.
every week. And yeah, and if you find a solid group of people, it makes it even better, definitely.
So you touched on it just briefly, and I think, we're like 20 some minutes in. And I know there are plenty of Diablo Immortal skeptics out there. You mentioned pay to win, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. If there has been, I think there are two things that have held people back from Immortal. First was the rollout of the game. Were you familiar with that at all in terms of how they announced Diablo Immortal? Because like you came in like you just found it, but
I think people were expecting like Diablo 4
right.
announcement, and then they
And
came out with Diablo Mobile, and everyone was like, what the hell? And originally, I know that Diablo Immortal was only going to be on mobile, and then they made it accessible on like PC, Steam Deck, and everything as
right.
well. And I know that that caused a lot of drama,
That
but I
was a
think
big
the whole
point.
like that, yeah, I know that there was like a lot of people that were like, this is ridiculous, like literally really
Right.
pissed off player base. But like my understanding of it is that the whole idea of it originally only going to be on mobile was the fact that you could take it anywhere with you.
Oh yeah.
You could be at work and playing it under your desk without people coming over and being like, what are you doing? You know, like,
It
so
it's
yeah,
not
but
a
I know that there was drama around that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And from a product standpoint, we've talked about it on the podcast. It's totally logical. There is a large group of people that only play mobile games. You are an example of
Yeah,
that, um,
yeah,
where you've never played the other ones. So it does make sense. Expand your market. It was a timing issue. You have a group of people together expecting to hear one thing, and then they get the exact opposite of what they want.
yeah.
Um, and there's an even longer story there where essentially like Diablo 4 was going to be announced, but they decided to hold it and yada, yada, yada. So it just made things a little bit worse. But then the other part outside of, so some people get put off by that, but other people are going to get put off by the fact that it does involve money, right? There are elements of the game that you can pay to acquire things. Diablo 4 currently, the only thing you pay for are cosmetic items, right? You can get a bunch of sets, you buy your battle pass, yada, yada, yada. Um, and that is it. However, that is not the case in Immortal. So we were talking a little bit pre-show. You said you have two characters, right? Or well, multiple
Yeah.
characters, but you have two types. You have a character that is a pay to win, and then you have one that is not. Um,
Yeah.
so what is the discrepancy? Like if for people who would be on the fence of just like I will not engage, give Blizzard any money for this, what would that experience be like for somebody who, I got two kids, right? I got these kids, they drain all my money already. I can't just give Blizzard any more. Um,
Yeah.
what would that Diablo Immortal experience look like if you weren't going to pay money for it?
I think the experience can be very similar as free to play or pay to win, sorry. It depends on the clan to begin with. So I've been in plenty of clans where we have players that come onto the Immortal Reign with us that are free to play. Now, the Immortal Reign to a lot of players is major. If you're someone like me that's experienced it a few times, you're kind of like, oh, Immortal Reign again, you know. But for a lot of players, that's what they ultimately want to do. They want to experience being an immortal in Diablo Immortal. Um, and you can do that as free to play. It's What's more tricky with free to play is getting your setup correct, especially if you want to do PvP. So it's utilizing things like they've done this whole gem system recently where you can actually remove the gem power to make a gem dormant. So you're not destroying that legendary gem and you're not destroying the properties from it. but you can make it dormant and then use that gem power on a different gem so that you can use that one instead. And so you can keep swapping your gems around like that. So you might have a gem that, for example, on my current free to play character, I have a gem that increases my skill damage. But to get that, I extracted the gem power from another gem that launches a pillar of ice at an area that will freeze enemies. So that one is now inactive and in my inventory, but instead I've got increased skill damage from the one that I've equipped. So there's a lot of things that they've put into game for everyone's benefit, but actually that really benefits free to play. But I think it's the understanding of these mechanics as free to play, because there's always worry like, oh my God, what if I get it wrong? And I don't want to like ruin this setup and then find that I can't redo it because I don't have the money to spend in game. So as you mentioned, and as we spoke before, I have two characters. So I have my main character, which is Wizard. I only play Wizard on my main character, and that is the character that I spend money on. There's certain things that I spend on every month. I made a video about what bundles I buy every month, what bundles I recommend buying if you want to be a mid spender. I'm not one of these like high spenders at all. I'm definitely only mid spender. And then my free to play character, the only benefit they get is Battle Pass, because when you purchase Battle Pass on your main character, you can use it for up to two other characters on the same server, so three characters in total. So I get a few extra perks from that, which is things like normal gems for my secondary stats. But my free to play character, I have just as much fun with. If anything, it's more exciting when you achieve things on your free to play character or as a free to play player, because you're like, oh my God, I didn't even spend money on this. And look, I've beaten that person on, Challenge Rift, or I'm doing really well in Battleground. And even my warband guys, I've got a couple of warband guys that are totally free to play. And, when they were looking for warbands, a lot of the time, the warband thing is very competitive as well. It's a group of up to, I believe it's 10 people now. Originally, it was 8. So a group of up to 10 players. And you do your Halikri boss raids together every week. And that also has a ranking. So depending on how quickly you beat which difficulty boss you beat, you can be obviously like in the top 10 for that. That gives you rewards. There's other warband tasks that you can do that gives you rewards. So a lot of these people that are free to play sometimes struggle to find a warband because they're like, oh, people aren't going to want to have a free to play person. But it's like, but if you're free to play and you know your builds and you're investing time into learning mechanics in the game, learning gem synergies, learning things that can make your character stronger, actually you can do just as well as someone that is pay to win. So even in things like PvP Battleground, they have this system in place where if your gem resonance is under a certain amount, you will match up with people to a similar gem resonance. Whereas once you're over a certain amount, then you start facing these like crazy pay to win people that have spent like $100,000 on the game. And that does happen. People do that. And there's some that I have to face sometimes in Battleground myself. Um, so the experience is different, but you can still play a lot of the same content and still enjoy a lot of the same content. And it kind of just depends what your goal is for playing Diablo Immortal. What is it that drives you to play it? Are you driven to play it because you want to play a game with your friends and have a catch up and have a community that you enjoy being a part of? Do you want to play it because you want to be the best at everything in the game? It's kind of, you can be a free to play, you can be a low spender, and you can still, in my opinion, you can still enjoy the game just as much as someone else. But something that I mentioned before when discussing Diablo Immortal was that it's kind of about staying in your own lane. And it's a little bit like there's that saying that comparison is the thief of joy. And it's so true, because in Diablo Immortal, you do get people that understandably they get frustrated that, oh, this player has spent £50,000 on this game and they just kick my ass every time, or I'm never going to be like them. And it's like, well, instead of trying to be like them, try and be like yourself. So for example, even with my wizard builds on my main character, I there are some really good builds out there. There's some really good guides out there on YouTube, but I'm someone that I'm like, no, I want to come up with my own builds. I might tweak things. I might look at someone's overall build on YouTube and be like, right, I'm going to swap this out. it might not be the strongest, but it's again, it's kind of down to play style and staying in my own lane of being like, well, this is how I want to play this character. This is how I enjoy playing wizard. Um, Whereas I think a lot of people, they kind of copy things and expect to be the exact same, but it's never going to be like that unless you are spending the same amount of money as someone that is at the top. If you're free to play, for example, you know, you're never going to have necessarily, you're never going to be at the top of the challenge rifts, but you can still thrive in battleground. You can still thrive in PvP because there are kind of brackets in place to help with that. And honestly, like my free to play character, as I said, it's so much fun. Especially like being a part of another clan as well. I really enjoy having like being able to support another clan with a character that's free to play just by showing up for them, like showing up to actually help the clan's overall score and take part in Shadow War, even though my character might suck and I might die several times, like it's still a lot of fun. And I think, yeah, I think the problem is with the with people worrying about the whole pay to win aspect is that whole comparison thing. If you're going to compare yourself to that, then yeah, you won't enjoy it. But if you just play and enjoy the game, enjoy the lore, enjoy being part of a community, then you will enjoy Diablo Immortal. But I think a lot of people unfortunately focus on like, oh, it's pay to win and just kind of throw it in the trash instead of
Right.
actually giving it a go. Yeah, definitely. But as I said, playing a free to play character and a character that I spent money on it is quite fun, playing the game in two different ways and having to be almost more methodical with my free character. You know, what can I do to make it stronger that I'm not actually having to spend money on? How can I earn this? How can I do that? And as you probably play a lot more if you're free to play as well, because you kind of have to grind to be able to, you know, level up your gear, level up your gems, do this, do that. Um, but yeah, I enjoy both aspects of the game. I enjoy the free to play as well as actually spending on a character and being like, oh, look, I've just killed loads of people really easily. You know, so yeah, there's ways to enjoy it on any levels of spending or even not spending at all. But I think I can understand why people do feel daunted by it because, as I said, you know, there are people that have spent like $100,000, and you get people making YouTube videos about it. I think there was a guy that made videos just about how much he spent on Diablo and then he quit, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, so the game must suck." And it's like, yeah, but you know what? If he actually stuck it out and played the game and continued playing the game, he'd probably be having like a great time. But starting off with it and then like spending money on it and then just writing it off, it's like, no, that's not the way to play Diablo. You
Right.
have to kind of stick with it and find your people for sure. And yeah, definitely it's enjoyable at any level of spending or not spending at all, in my opinion, as someone that does both.
Right. Right. So I know there's a battle pass. What is the cost of a battle pass? I mean, and how frequent are they?
So we have a battle pass every month or every 4 weeks. And there's actually 3 levels to it. So there is a free version, which everyone gets. So the free version does have rewards. Then there's what they call an empowered version, which in pounds is like $4.99. I think it's the same in dollars, or it's like maybe $5.99. And then you have the collectors empowered. So the collectors empowered is more for people that have spent on cosmetics as well. So it unlocks features on cosmetics that might have been time bound originally. So things that may have expired on your cosmetic. So it reawakens that. It gives you access to a few other things, like there's a battle archive shop where you can buy older cosmetics from previous battle passes. You can buy things like gem chests for legendary gems. And that one is in pounds, it's £11.99. So it's not like a huge amount in my opinion, it's not a huge amount to spend on a game each month. You know, it's under £20. And that's every month that you can get that. There's also another thing called Boon of Plenty. So Boon of Plenty will give you one normal gem of your choice every day for 30 days, one rare crest every day for 30 days, and then every 5 days you get a legendary crest or like a 2-star gem. You also get 600 orbs with that, which you can use for eternal crests, which it gives you sellable legendary gems. I know this is probably all like, this is so much information and I'm not sure about any of it. Um, but yeah, it's there's different things that you can buy each month. I buy the battle pass every month and I buy the Boon of Plenty every month. And the battle pass will give you things like normal gems for your secondary attributes. It will give you legendary crests or telluric pearls. So I'm not sure what the situation is in Diablo 4, but in Diablo Immortal, you can collect telluric pearls to craft some of the most powerful legendary gems. So once you have 40, you can craft a gem of your choice. So Battle Pass gives you, I think it's 12 of those as well. So there's different levels of spending that you can do. You know, you can literally spend like $5 a month in game if you want to, or you can spend $11 a month in game, or you can spend $20 and get like the Boon of Plenty and the Battle Pass. So it's kind of like if you want to just spend a small amount, you can do that quite easily in Diablo Immortal and still get a decent amount of rewards. And everything in the battle pass helps with kind of making your character stronger, leveling things up, leveling up gear, and giving you materials for other bits in game as well. So yeah, there's, as I said, 3 levels to battle pass: free, empowered, and collectors empowered. And yeah, pretty good for any spending level, I would say.
Does the battle pass like have in D4 there is a battle pass. You earn a small amount of currency so you can buy it in dollars or you can pay in currency for it. Is there a currency that you can earn over the course of Immortal to pay for the battle pass again, or is it just always like the flat one time?
It's the, yeah, every month you kind of just have to spend on
I,
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I, the amount of currency you get from D4 is very small that like you would need to buy at this point like 10 of them before you would be able to
Okay.
purchase it with in-game currency. But I know there are a few games where like, okay, if you are grinding, you can make your currency back and then buy the battle pass again instead of spending it on cosmetics or gems or whatever it might be. So I was curious if that was there, but you know, somewhat logical. I will state by
Yeah.
comparison, if you are, you said the lowest was like £5, right?
Yeah, so 3 levels of it, free version. It's basically the free version. The way it's drawn up in game, you have like 40 levels of it. So the free version is at the top, and then the empowered version is at the bottom. And then the collects empowered has additional boxes in that bottom bit. So you can kind of see exactly what you get from both before you commit to buying it. And also like the free version, you get quite a lot in. So as I said, if you want to be totally free to play, you're still going to get rewards each month. The main thing you get from the battle pass every month, they do a cosmetic in it. I don't know if it's the same in D4, but every battle pass comes with a cosmetic. And so if you get the empowered and collects empowered, that will give you the weapon cosmetic and the armor part of the cosmetic as well. Whereas if you go for the free version, it's mainly the cosmetic that you miss out on, and then a few extra levels of rewards, and that's basically it. Yeah,
Okay.
but unfortunately, no way of earning a free battle pass.
Well, I
Would be
mean,
nice.
put it in the Discord and see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of power, but maybe you do. Um, okay, so we got some battle passes, we got some things going. I will state, for those who are against monetization, but are okay with a buying a battle pass in D4, this is actually cheaper. I mean, the Diablo 4 battle pass, you're looking at 15 or 25. That's all just
Okay.
cosmetic stuff. Um, but still can be pricey, and that's every 3 months if you are dropping in. So there is some overlap there.
Yeah.
But then again, you got the free version too. So
Yeah.
okay, all right. So I can go in, I can play. Um, I can play free. I don't have to buy anything. If I was going to do that, like what you said, wizard, what's the worst class? And what would I want to avoid? Like if you were to rank the classes essentially, what would your ranking be for somebody who would be coming in blind?
Well, Wizard is going to get nerfed this week. It was in the patch notes. So in PvP, and actually PvE, Wizard is going to be kind of drop down a few ranks. I would say probably the worst class currently is Blood Knight. So Blood Knight, as I said, they brought into game. It was one of the new classes, so a couple of years ago now. And I almost feel like they forgot about it. It's almost like it's an afterthought with like essences and things like that. So I would say at the bottom is probably Blood Knight and the new class Druid, but Druid is going to get some new essences soon, which should make it stronger, and it's going to get some balancing made to the class, so some fine tuning to the class, which should make it stronger. Then it's kind of difficult because Monk is actually really good with the right build. It's kind of difficult to rank the classes in Diablo Immortal because a lot of the time it's down to people's knowledge and how much time they spend on the class. Like, I have a guy in my warband that's played Monk since the start. That's his class that he plays. He doesn't play anything else, and he's so good on it. He's always Legend League in Battleground. He's free to play and just amazing at the class. But Monk is probably kind of lower to the bottom because people don't invest the time in learning it. But actually, as a class, once you get the right build, it's insane and it can be amazing. So yeah, probably, as I said, Blood Knight and Druid at the bottom at the moment, then Monk, then probably Demon Hunter and Wizard, I would say, are kind of neck and neck, especially with Wizard coming up with a nerf. Demon Hunter is a sharpshooter. Demon Hunter is crazy fast DPS. If you watch Game Zone play, it's like watching some kid run around like crazy with like a water pistol or something. He just is insane on that class. But I would say Demon Hunter and Wizard are kind of neck and neck. Necromancer is always a solid class. And so is Crusader. And I would say at the moment, like Barbarian is pretty strong in the game. I'm trying to think if I've forgotten any classes. But Barbarian, and Tempest, yeah. So Tempest, I would say, is similar to Necromancer. Tempest was really, really OP when it landed in game. In PvP now, it's again like Demon Hunter, it's a super fast class with DPS. And with the right build, people do really well on it. So on my free-to-play character, quite often in our Halikri raids, I'm like in the top 4 for DPS because you can actually track that in dungeons and in raids in Diablo Immortal. I don't know if they have that mechanic in D4, but you can actually see people's damage in
Well,
Diablo Immortal.
you can see your own damage, but you can't see the damage of others in D4.
Yeah. So they added for Halikri raids, it shows you the top 4 damage dealers out of the party of 8. And then in dungeons, it shows you like who the number 1 damage dealer is, and then it shows your damage underneath. So like even on my free-to-play character, I can be quite often in the top 4, and my free-to-play character is Tempest. I know full well if I played any other class on that character, my DPS would be trash. But because I've gone for a class that has fast DPS, I do okay on it. So yeah, Tempest, Necromancer, I would say a neck and neck, and then I would say Barbarian is definitely top. Now Barbarian had a nerf made to it a couple of months back, but then like 2 weeks later they dropped these insane essences for it, and now Barbarian you still can't kill. So like we had unkillable Barbarian for months. They nerfed it. Then they were like, oh, we feel bad. Let's make Barbarian really strong again. And Barbarian's just unkillable. And Crusader's kind of similar as well. They have like crazy amount of shields. And they can have it up, like they can have their shield up pretty much all the time. So you cannot do anything to them. But I would say a lot of the classes are fairly balanced. A lot of the time it's down to build, it's down to play style, what you enjoy playing. I have a friend actually that's recently started playing Diablo Immortal. He had never played any of the Diablo games before, and he found out that I was this content creator for Diablo Immortal and was like, I'm going to download it. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll go for it. He's like, what class should I play? And I was like, well, just pick one, farm all the essences and see if you like it. So he did that. And then he's like, I'm going to play this class. I'm going to play this class. He's played every single class now in Diablo Immortal in the space of like 3 weeks. And he's just found Crusader last week and was like, why did you not tell me about Crusader? Crusader is awesome. And I was like, I did tell you about Crusader. It's one of the classes I told you to play. And he looked back at the messages and was like, oh yeah, you did tell me to play Crusader. It is a lot of fun. But it's down to play style. If you want to play more melee, if you want to play close combat, obviously you've got quite a few options. If you want to play more ranged, you've got options. Crusader and Tempest are kind of like hybrids, so you can play them close combat, but you can play them slightly ranged as well. So if you're someone that likes a bit of both, Tempest or Crusader is a good option to go for. But I mean, We have like no cooldown really for class changing. I think it's a 24-hour cooldown on class changing. So even if you start playing the game and don't like the class you've chosen, you can easily swap and play something different. And it's nice to actually have that mechanic and be able to swap so easily. Even if you're playing a class, so as I said, I play Wizard. I have all the essences farmed on Wizard, but I can select for different bonuses. I can select other classes' essences. So if I wanted to farm for another class so that I could class swap and have the essences I need, I can actually do that from different event rewards that they do in game. You can select which class you want the reward from and then select the specific essence and stuff. So there's not really any mistakes that you can make as a new player, other than kind of spending too much and then regretting it, I suppose. Or spending on the wrong things, which I did when I first started playing. I was buying some of these bundles and I was like, actually, that didn't help me out at all. And, I bought that for like 3 months straight and I probably shouldn't have. Whereas there's other things that are a lot more helpful, especially, as I said, things that help you focus on your secondary stats. That's a huge thing that a lot of new players kind of don't really necessarily understand. I think a lot of people going back again to the pay to win aspect. I think a lot of people make that mistake to begin with, that I need to have the best legendary gems. That's kind of what people think. And it's like, but you're not going to get the benefit of those if you don't have strong secondaries as well. So actually focusing on normal gems, you can farm 63 free normal gems a week. Whether you spend or not, everyone can do that. You can farm 63 gems for free. And then daily you can farm gems as well. I think it's 12 in total. So actually you can build your secondaries up quite easily just with consistent gameplay. So I would say that's the only mistake to make, is not farming things that actually help your progression in the long term. And yeah, and giving up on the game before like giving it a real chance as well. That's something that too many people do. My friend is kind of saying, oh, I don't know if I'm going to keep playing. I'm like, you will keep playing. You will keep playing, or I will hunt you down.
Which
So
is
yeah.
fair. Um, I do enjoy the fact that Druid is terrible in both Diablo 4 and Immortal. I was very hyped when I saw it kind of come through the wire, because there's a lot of parts of what is included in the class that isn't in Diablo 4, where I'm like, oh, that a fire tornado, a grizzly bear, like,
Yeah.
oh, that's awesome. And then to hear that it's underperforming, just as par for the course, because Druid has always been the odd one out. So still tempting. I will more than likely still play that because that's my favorite class and playstyle, but
Yeah.
it's always at the bottom. Always at the bottom. Um, as we're coming kind of,
It will be stronger. It
yeah.
will be stronger. And I think the issue was that people expected it to be OP without actually investing time into it, without actually working on builds, without actually farming the essences. People just expected Druid to launch, log in, oh yeah, this is OP, I'm going to take everyone down in Battleground, instead of actually working on the class and working on builds. And it kind of goes back to everything again that I've already said. If you're not investing the time into your specific class, into your character, that's the only reason why Druid isn't the best at the moment. There are some people that are really strong on it because they're spending time on actually working on the gem synergies, working on the right build. So yeah, come back and play Druid. You'll enjoy it. It will be strong again, I'm sure.
Well, there is a hope. Okay. So as we kind of get to the end here, Immortal has changed. You can get through, and you don't have to spend a cent at the moment. So I think I might download it. I got my phone right here. We'll give it a go. Um, we close our show out with an homage to the cow level. If you've never played any of the other ones, then the question is there a cow level in Diablo Immortal? Is there a place where you just kill a bunch of cows?
Well, there's not a cow level, and it does tell you that on one of the loading screens. It says there is no cow level. But we do have the Butcher in Diablo Immortal. He
Right.
does make random appearances in challenge dungeons. So we have two versions of dungeons. So he does make random appearances sometimes in challenge dungeons. He is a permanent fixture in one of the specific dungeons in game. And there is actually an area in Mount Zevane with like Highland cows
Okay.
that you can kill.
There you
There's
go.
not many of them, but there are some cows that I always thought they were sheep, but apparently not. Apparently they're cows. And then I was like, oh yeah, it does actually say. So yeah, there's not a specific cow level. I was kind of hoping that there might be one hidden because when I saw it at the bottom of the loading screen, I was like, there's some secret level somewhere that I'm not being told about, but
Right.
no one's found it yet. So
Okay.
maybe one day. There's
It
constant updates, so maybe one day.
well, we have it in
I'm not
Diablo
making promises
2.
because I have no idea.
Right. We have it in Diablo 3. It is not in Diablo 4. They're the same kind of thing. There's lots of rumors, lots of different things, but we have yet
Yeah.
to see it. So we'll just have to hope for the future. Now, before we close out, Risha, where can people find you? And the best, maybe give a recommendation for if anybody's piqued their interest of where to start for you.
I mean, my main channel is YouTube, so just the only Risha is my username on there. Or if you just search Risha, I do come up like Risha Diablo. If you want to look at makeup content and outfit content, that is on my Instagram. If you just Google my name, I think my Instagram comes up as the first hit, and then my YouTube comes up as the second hit. So literally just my first name, you can go on Google and find me quite easily. But it depends what kind of content people want to watch. And if you want a really in-depth content on Diablo Immortal, then yeah, that's not me. But there are some other really good guys. I definitely would say Game Zone for Demon Hunter, Mao and Orof if you want the real technical, really, really technical stuff. If you want to geek out, if you want to watch 24-hour live streams of trying to reach the next Paragon level, those are your guys. But for me, it's about keeping it simple and trying to make the information as easy as possible for anyone to understand. And also, yeah, nerdy, geeky, stupid YouTube shorts as well. I have those on my channel too. So yeah.
Well, somebody's got to do it, and glad it's you and not me because I don't have that in me. All right, Risha. Well, thank you very much for coming on. And so, as I said, we do an homage to the cow level. So all I'm going to ask is just give your best cow impression in just a second. Prep yourself. So we'll close it out as we always do with a moo, moo, moo.
So I actually have to move.
I mean, see, that was great.